This has been a long time coming. Let's see if I regret finally doing one of these.
Or not cut trick, my bad. I'm waiting on something.
Without the counters. It's Kaiju Albez. Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into Team Forbidden's YouTube page. It is I, Sendo Sam the Fanatic, back with another deck profile update post Lightning Overdrive. Kaijus. This is my first iteration of the deck that's going to be on the channel, aside from the Time Lord Kaijus, where I am not using Kyoto Waterfront. I really wanted to put it in here, but I couldn't find the room and I couldn't justify putting it in here for the other stuff. I went for a little more hard competitive on this one. But Kaijus, what's new with this is branded. They have been branded really, really good. Well, let's get into the deck profile. I'll explain as we go along. So first off, we've only got one Gameciel, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. He's the weakest one. You summon that to your opponent's field. If you had the Kaiju counters, you could, remove his, you could activate his Omni Negate effect. One Jizukuru. Why the rest of these guys outside of Dogoran are not hollow, I will not understand yet. So, two Thunder King. You'll notice I've only got the one Jizukuru. That's because the other two are in Cyber Dragons right now. Two Thunder King, because it's a light monster. That's important. We'll get to it later. Two Gardala, because of Windex. And two Radiant, because, dark decks are a thing. And besides, you can always just do stuff with it. So, the ones that are the most important, I made sure that all of them, with the exception of the Gameciel, are above 2,500. And all with the exception of the Radiant are level 8 and above. Now, the reason for that is this guy. Fallen of Albaz. First time we have him in my deck, so this is basically based entirely around this card while removing problematic boss monsters. The idea of this deck is essentially get rid of your opponent's threat, summon this guy. Preferably you get rid of their threat with one of the light ones. Slap another Kaiju down on your board. Summon Albez. And then you basically just get rid of your opponent's board and OTK them outright. If they only have one monster. One monster, no back row. Ideally. This thing has a little bit of a back row problem. I'm still working on it. But we'll get into that in sort of small... I can't really call it a combo section because it requires your opponent to have cards. But Fallen Albaz, you summon him, pitch a card from your hand, and then fuse with any of your opponent's monsters. So it's kind of a pseudo mini Super Poly, except this can be responded to. For discards, for free discards, we've got this guy. I mean, it's Gizmekarochi. This is the other. If you don't have the Kaiju, you discard this with Fallen Albaz, and it's the same sort of idea. Into the hand traps. 3 Jordan Lockbird. This card is stupid. 3 Nibiru the Primal Being, because it's either a light monster or your opponent's monster is going to be. And then we have 3 Gamma and a Driver, because you got to make sure your Kaiju Slumber goes off. Kaiju Slumber, or another card we'll get into in just a few moments. Speaking of, 3 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Better Dark Hole, changed my mind. And the other card, Fusion Deployment. I'm not sure if we've had this card in the channel yet, so I should explain what this does. Fusion Deployment is a spell card where you reveal a fusion monster from your extra deck, and then you special summon a specifically named material on the card directly to your field. You are unfortunately then locked into only fusion summons from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, so you're not going to be able to Xyz or do any or Link or do anything like that. but you reveal a fusion monster with a specifically named material. You can't just reveal 5-headed dragon and special summon any frickin' dragon you want from your deck. It doesn't work that way. So, specifically named, in this case, Fallen Albaz. Or if you had a Chimera attack, you could just summon Cyber Dragon out and do that stuff. But yeah, this is essentially 3 extra copies of Fallen of Albaz. Not running the Dogmatica stuff in here, although I really, really wanted to, I'll be honest, because it locks you out of the extra deck. And you kind of, the point is to go into your extra deck to kill your opponent. Speaking of fusing with your opponent's stuff, 3 Super Poly. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. This is the board. This is literally boardbreaker.deck. So, 1 Begone Demon Child, because we don't want Ashes Monster Reborn, because we can have nice things. Harpy's Feather Duster, because we can have nicer things now, finally. Seriously, why was this a super rare in the Egyptian god decks and not a common? I don't understand. I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I'm sorry. That just really bugged me, and I had to get that out there. And then the last spell card is the new one, Branded in White. So this is the basically Albaz-specific fusion spell. You should summon any fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a dragon monster. Then, if you are using Fallen Albaz as material, you can banish the materials from your graveyard instead. And if it's discarded for the effect of Fallen Albaz or the Fallen of Albaz, you can just set it directly to your field during the end phase. These 2 also have that status as well. Not going to really get into what these guys do, but one brings your fusion monsters back, the other one blows up anything that's stronger than you. And then 3 infinite impermanence, because it's infinite impermanence. If you have it, run it. So, now we get into the extra deck, which is where the meat of this comes in. So, 2 Titaniclad, the Ash Dragon, and the big one, the whole reason this deck is even possible, this guy. Fallen of Albaz plus any light monster. Literally, he is fusion summoned. He fusion summons another one from your using material from your graveyard for free. And he's 25. So, you summon... You'll ideally summon him first, but if you have to, you go into this, or you can go into Brigand, or Sprint, the Iron Dragon. This is the worst one. You could arguably cut this card, but I know the situation is going to come up to where I need this card to win, and I don't have it. I'm going to regret not having it in here. But yeah, it's a Albion. It's this plus light. So you just give your opponent any kaiju that's a light one, or you give them the Primal Being token, and then you use Fallen of Albaz and discard literally basically anything else that could be used for material for these guys. And then you've got this or a kaiju plus this or this. You basically make it so you have 8,000 plus and you kill them. That's the goal of this deck. That's the theory behind it. So, apart from them, we also have some generic Super Poly targets, such as the, for all of your Cyberse breaking needs, arguably best generic Super Poly target in the game. This new guy, which is literally the only Super Poly target that can out Crystal Wing Dragoon boards. Literally the only one. And then Dracosteplia, Starving Venom, and the Eldritch. Because we have the Gamma package, we're running a Cyframe Lord Omega. You could arguably make this the Chaos Ruler, but I feel like robbing your opponent out of cards in their hand, as well as recycling banished cards and other stuff, is a little bit more important. And Dingrisu is our 1 rank 8 that we have. This could be 38 arguably, but I felt like Dingrisu might be the best one. And you have level 1s that you can summon, and it's a kaiju deck, so Anima if you're in a really, really tough spot. Alright, into the side deck after we get past the Primal Being token. Oh my god, a giant rock! I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's a man that's emerging from the rock that was oh so giant. So, side deck, Lancia, pretty self-explanatory. 3 border. You side these in going first, obviously. And Mana Pancre Drops, 3 Cosmic Cyclone, Red Reboot, 2 Crackdown, and I struggled on the last card to put in here. I eventually settled on 2 copies of Lost Wind, because I figure it's something that you can discard with Fallen of Albaz, and then if they summon from special summon anything, you can just set it back to your field to use during your turn. So yeah, that's Super Albaz Kaiju, the SAC deck as I like to call it. Guys, if you want to purchase some really cool looking mats, just use the promo code Forbidden10. I, as unfortunately you can see, do not have one just yet, but I am usually a very generous person, so I am going to offer you the code Forbidden10, as everyone else has done in all of our videos. So get your own PAL Manga mat today. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell down below for future notifications. Stay supersized.